Brandon Nimmo played only 6 games in spring training. Spring training? What is it good for? Opening day, Nimmo. At Lone Depot Park in Miami, the New York Mets play the Miami Marlins. Opening week is presented by Front Door. New York Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by Toyota. Ready, set, go, anywhere and everywhere with Toyota's legendary lineup. Toyota, let's go places. By Spectrum Internet for $49.99 a month. Free advanced Wi-Fi and a free mobile line. Restrictions apply. Visit Spectrum.com. By your Tri-State Cadillac dealers. Visit your Tri-State Cadillac dealer today. And by Dunkin'. America runs on Dunkin'. Well, the Mets sailed their way to a victory on opening day in South Florida. Wouldn't be a game in South Florida without a boat. Da, 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 da. Mets will try and make it 2 straight in Miami tonight. The moon is struggling to get out, but look at this. Look at this. The roof at Lone Depot Park will be open. Open, I say. Oh, what a nice change of pace. And a pleasant good evening, everybody, and welcome to Miami. Gary Cohen, Keith Hernandez, Ron Darling with you tonight as the Mets play Game 2 of their opening series against the Marlins. Buck Showalter, when the season begins, likes to get everybody involved, and today some of his reserves get their first crack.
Well, we're now second year for Buck, and we've been around him, and he mentioned this last year, early in the season. He likes to get everybody into the flow. Now you got 8 games in a row this year, so it's a little bit more difficult. You don't have the off days, but you got Mark Canha's going to DH. He only DH'd twice last year, and you're going to have Tommy Pham in left field. That only leaves LeCastro and Luis Guillorme, who haven't played yet. This is only Game 2 now, Gare.
Only Game 2. There are 160 more after that. The Mets figured they were going to have a veteran rotation coming into the season, but with Jose Quintana and now Justin Verlander on the shelf, Tyler McGill is back. He'll pitch tomorrow, and David Peterson goes today.
Keith, it's only Game 2, but it's a big game for David Peterson. He won the job because he had an outstanding spring. 12 innings, did not give up any runs, only 1 hit and 13 strikeouts. Now, he's made 43 starts in his last 3 years. He's been given a chance. This is his real chance to stick in that rotation. It doesn't come at a better time. Last year against the Marlins, ERA in 3 starts, 2.81.
Fellow lefty Jesus Luzardo missed 2.5 months last year with a forearm strain, but when he pitched, he was really good.
All of his numbers are up. His strikeouts are up. His walks are down. This talented lefty is really poised to break out.
So it's a matchup of young left-handers tonight as the Mets try and make it 2 straight in Miami. Mets and Marlins, all the action coming up on SNY. Maintenance app coming soon. By your local Ford dealers. For current offers, visit buyfordnow.com. By HSS, the official hospital of the New York Mets. And by Tri Honda, contact your local Honda dealer today. Some fun facts from M&M's opening day. Jacob deGrom got lit up, but Texas rallied against Aaron Nola and beat the Phillies 11-7. Ty France broke up a scoreless game with a 3-run homer in the 8th for the Mariners. Adley Rutschman, 5 for 5, first catcher ever with 5 hits on opening day.
Wow. As
Baltimore beat Boston, Adam Wainwright sung the anthem. That was not a good omen for the Cardinals, who got outscored by the Blue Jays 10-9. And in the Oakland-Anaheim game, this catch by Hunter Renfroe. Look, Ma, don't even have to watch. Look at where his head is. Oh, come on.
Renfroe catch, 10 Ks by Ohtani, couple of hits by Trout. What happened, Gary?
They lost. Maybe they'll win a game before those 2 guys retire. I don't know. Mets and Marlins. First pitch coming right up. Introducing the Mets triple play. It's a 3-game steal. Bundle 3 games and get 20% off your entire purchase. Get yours at Mets.com/triple play.
I want in on that.
Bigger bases.
Triple play is a defensive play. A steal is an offensive play. So they managed to meld the offense and the defense in one promo. That's very impressive.
I don't think Pete's going to make a triple play or steal.
He could be part of a triple play.
There you go.
Catch a line drive, step on the bag, throw to second.
How about Pete with the mustache, sporting the mustache this year?
Check out the Marlins, who are wearing their throwback uniforms. These were the uniforms that the Marlins wore 30 years ago in their inaugural season in 1993, complete with the teal hats. Gotta love that.
Love it. Love it.
Look like a bunch of Jeff Conines. Here's your Honda Mets starting lineup. Tommy Pham in left field. Mark Canha only had 2 at-bats as a DH last year. He's going to DH in Game 2 of the season against the left-hander. Tomas Nido gets his first start behind the plate. Otherwise, the same unit the Mets put out there yesterday against the left-hander Jesus Luzardo.
Well, Gary mentioned that he missed almost 3 months last year with the forearm strain, but strikes out almost 11 batters every 9 innings. And last year, only Nestor Cortez was the only other left-hander that allowed a lower batting average against than Luzardo.
And here's your Marlin defense. And that we mentioned the infield guys playing. Well, John Berkey's at shortstop today getting the start. Last year, he was at short 10 games, only 5 starts at shortstop. They've kind of got jiggled people around here in that infield for more offense. And in the outfield, you've got Soler moving from left to right field, and Jazz Chisholm playing his 2nd game in center field.
Outstanding.
Had some trouble last night. Well, this is Game 2 of the season. The first game of the season yesterday started 3 minutes late. This one's going to start at least 3, maybe 4 minutes late. So for all the talk about speeding things up, getting the game started on time, we're still working on.
You're a stickler, Gary, for that. What time's that 11 o'clock bus leave?
By the way, since we have a moment here, we can tell you that the call that was made yesterday, the strike on McNeil when Alonso was going back to the bag, that was a mistake by the umpires. They were not supposed to do that. They were just supposed to tell Pete to move it along. So we're not going to see that call again.
Oh, what's going on?
Well, Luzardo couldn't hear the pitch comm.
Yep, we've got a pitch comm issue. So the home plate umpire, Chris Guccione, is going to hold it. And apparently is not going to charge a ball before the game begins, although he is allowed to do that if the pitcher forgets his pitch comm. If he doesn't bring it out to the mound with him, he can call it a violation. But if it's just not working, then he is allowed to allow the player to get a working piece of equipment.
Very nice by Chris Guccione having a feel to let it flow.
They got to make sure that the batteries are charged. Let's go.
All right, I think we're all set now. Brandon Nimmo, 1 for 3, drove in 3 runs last night. He's got a home run in 5 at-bats against Luzardo. First pitch, fastball misses for ball 1, and we're underway.
Big clutch double by Nimmo last night on a slider away off the left-hander.
He takes that fastball at 98 miles an hour for a strike. Luzardo's average fastball velocity last year was 96.1. And he pitched particularly well after coming back from that forearm strain on the 1st of August. And he is throwing gas early on in this game. It's 1-2.
Yep, he's unloading it right now early.
1-2 coming to Nimmo. And he throws his first breaking ball and misses 2-2.
The Marlins acquired Luzardo from the Oakland A's for Starling Marte.
Before that, he was traded from Washington to Oakland for Sean Doolittle and Ryan Madsen. Originally drafted by Washington, he was the first major league player born in Peru. He's still the only major league player born in Peru, but his parents were Venezuelan and they moved to Florida. Went to Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland. Grounded toward the hole on the left side. Birdie giving ground. Makes the hurried throw, and he gets him by a stride. Nice play by Birdie for the first out of the game.
Boy, he had to get on his horse. He had no time for any extra movement.
It looked like he slipped a little bit because he couldn't get enough on the throw.
They're going to challenge.
Well,
it's close.
The challenges have to be made faster this year. The manager has got to hold up his hand immediately after the play.
I think he beat it.
And then you only have 15 seconds to decide. So there's a lot of pressure on the video coordinator, Harrison Friedland, who last year was successful 78.9% of the time on his challenges.
Wow.
The next best team was at 64% last year. This will be his first challenge of this season.
He's going to have to make more snap decisions this season. And this game's having a hard time getting out of the chute. Let's see.
He's safe.
Yeah, it's not in the web.
That's close.
I don't think it's in the webbing.
Didn't make contact with the inside of the leather, which is what it has to be before the foot hits the bag.
It's
ball still in the air.
He's safe.
Yep.
And I already marked 6-3 on my scorecard.
Me too. That's why they made whiteout.
I'm going to need your whiteout.
Larger bag.
So there's Nimmo's hustle, probably getting a base hit. That's Larry Vanover, who had his hands full last night. I mean, there's so much on the home plate umpire today.
Is his foot touching the base there?
Yeah, I think so.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Just asking.
It's just a
tie base goes to the runner, correct?
I think they're going to keep it, and they're going to say he's out.
Oh. You know, you might be right, Ron. You know, I'm not going to commit on this one. I'm going to go blow with the wind.
straddle the fence. Let the wind blow you either way. You can be influenced by the wind tonight because the roof is open. Well, we have enough time here to tell you that it's only the 6th time since the start of the 2021 season that they've had the roof open here. Wow. 2 times last year, 3 times the year before, and boy, this is taking forever.
Yeah, it's a tough call.
And by the way, this is the only game being played in the major leagues right now, so it's not like they have a lot of other calls that they're dealing with at the same time.
Wow.
Perhaps the umpires in the replay center were not situated in time for an early call like this.
Uber Eats from Old Homestead just arrived.
Here we go. Here comes the call.
All right, Larry, what do you got?
Upon review, the call on the field stands. The runner is out. New York loses their challenge.
So there you go.
Well, it was just close as it can get.
Well,
Harris, don't worry.
It's a much tougher job this year in that replay room.
It's one of those calls, if he had been called safe, it would have stood as well.
So that's the first out of the game.
Finally.
It's 6:49. Here's starting Marte. He takes a fastball for a strike. Nothing in 1. Marte 2 for 4 last night, and he had the Mets' only stolen base. Stolen bases were a theme on opening day last night. There's a good changeup by Luzardo, 0-2. There were 21 stolen bases in the 15 games yesterday, the most on any opening day since 1907. 21 steals compared to 5 on opening day the year before.
Tells you how the game has changed. In 1907, those 21 steals came in 7 games. 15 games last night.
One-two coming, and Marte takes a fastball high. So what impact did the rules have on day 1? Well, the time of game was down almost a half an hour. There were only 14 violations in the 15 games. That's better than anybody expected. Of course, we had one in our game that should not have been. The one on the base runner.
Right.
And the 21 steals in 23 tries, by the way. 3-2 to Marte with Lindor on deck. And Starling pops one up in his shallow right field. Arias retreating out of the outfield grass and puts it away, 2 out. Time for your front door expert approach. As we mentioned, the first and only major leaguer born in Peru and traded for Starling Marte at the deadline in 2021. Here's Lindor. Francisco went 1 for 4 on opening day and drove in a run. Last year, 26 home runs, the most ever by a Mets shortstop, broke Asdrubal Cabrera's record.
And he loved this Marlins pitching. 7 of those 26 came against Marlins pitching.
I don't think we've ever seen Luzardo throwing this hard. This is his 5th career start against the Mets. And he blows that one by Lindor, and it's 1-2.
I will tell you, your first start of the year, the ball just feels as light as a feather.
Really?
Oh,
even in the cold.
You have such adrenaline.
And changeup misses, and it's 2-2. Even when you're the day 2 pitcher as opposed to the day 1 pitcher.
Hey, day 2 was important to me. It might not have been important to everyone else.
Well, there's a reason why day 2 is called Ron Darling Day. You made 8 starts the second day of the season.
Yep.
5 for the Mets and 3 for the A's.
Wow. It's always the bridesmaid. Rodney Dangerfield Day.
That's right. I get no respect.
That's what it was dubbed. 3rd straight full count for Luzardo, and he strikes out Lindor to end the inning. 1-2-3 go the Mets. Hyundai starting lineup for the Marlins. 38-year-old Yuli Gurriel, who's only played for the Astros in his major league career, now a Marlin, gets his chance to make his Miami debut. Nick Fortes, John Birdie additions to the lineup. As Skip Schumacher tries again for his first win as a big league skipper, and David Peterson gets the start for the Mets.
Well, those are his numbers from last year. I mentioned in the 3 years he's made 43 starts, 13-13, ERA of touch over 4.
Luis Arraez takes a strike. Arraez, last year's American League batting champion, went 2 for 4 in his National League debut yesterday.
An impressive 2 for 4. He can swing the bat. He's a good line drive hitter, good leadoff hitter.
He was 2 for 4. The rest of the Marlins were 3 for 26.
Well, they traded Pablo Lopez to the Twins to get Arraez. Lopez had a great beginning for Minnesota last night. That's just off the plate. The slider from Peterson. That is his strikeout pitch. 1-2.
Peterson thought he had a strike there. I thought that ball was outside.
52% of Peterson's strikeouts last year came on the slider. Well, we mentioned Pablo Lopez and Luis Arraez, and Lopez could not have been better yesterday for Minnesota.
Oh, the Mets just brutalized him last year.
1-2 coming, and Arraez fights one off foul.
That's a good pitch right there, folks. A good hard sinker on the hands. And what does Arraez do? He gets a piece of it inside outs and stays in the at bat. He fought off a tough one.
I love that Arraez not only has the teal in the uniform, he's got the teal in the shoes.
Yes.
I mean, that's just outstanding color coordination.
Yes.
2-2 coming. And Peterson misses down with the slider. 3-2. Well, last year, the toughest batter to strike out in the majors, lowest swing and miss rate by far of any player in the majors, but he did strike out against Brooks Raley in the 8th inning last night.
So it's not only Arraez, but they have Gurriel in the lineup as well, who's almost impossible to strike out.
You know, it was one of the goals for this Marlins team to have more contact, put more balls in play after a dreadful offensive season last year. 9th pitch of this opening at bat, and Arraez takes it low, ball 4.
Close. Close. Good at bat. And your Lexus Metropolitan defense running with the same troops. Nito gets the start tonight. It's a perfect little platoon right now. Lefty righty with Narvaez and Tomas. You guys were real quick last night with that infield. I was really nervous.
It's a pitch clock now, Keith.
Guys got the slows today. Jeez. Oh, here's the outfield, folks. Tommy Pham getting the first start in left field. And Nimmo, of course, and Marte round out.
Gene Segura batting second in the order, 0 for 3 in his Marlins debut yesterday. And he takes the sinker low for ball 1. Segura's got good numbers against Peterson, 4 for 9, including a home run. You know, what's interesting about Peterson, 3 years in a row he was not in the rotation to start the year, and yet each of the last 3 years he's finished top 5 on the Mets staff in starts. Came up during that 2020 season. Remember the debut he made at Fenway Park that year, and really impressed in the shortened season that year.
He's got good upside. I like him.
He only had really one negative in spring training, and that in those 12 innings he had 8 walks.
Yeah, but only 1 hit.
Yeah, that's right.
Segura 4 for 9 with a home run against Peterson.
Is that right? Yep. 2-0 pitch. It's taken on the outside
say it
corner.
before,
Strike
earlier?
2-1.
Gary, stop repeating what I'm saying.
Oh, it's a new season, but some things are locked in forever.
Yes. I get focused on watching how the pitchers are working the hitters.
And Segura takes that slider low and in. It's 3-1.
So I don't hear everything at times. You kind of fade out here.
You can fade in, you can fade out. We'll enjoy it whenever you happen to, you know, be around. 3-1 coming. And shot down to first. Great play, Alonso. Taps the bag. The throw to second. In time for the double play. Oh, wow. Alonso allowed that ball to take him right to the bag. Tapped it with the glove, and Lindor with the tag to get a rise for the 3-3-6 double play.
Wow, that had double written all over it. Nice play by Pete. That was a bullet. And didn't rush the throw. Got the throw over the runner's head.
And no challenge by the Marlins on a close play at second.
You know, Arise started that slide so early, he kind of stuck in the ground and never got there.
So that's how Peterson gets his first 2 outs. And here's Gary Cooper is DHing tonight. Cooper had a home run against Max Scherzer to tie the game yesterday.
Yeah, he beat the throw. I mean, the tag beat him.
You're right, Ronnie. He slid way too
You
low.
know, he just never got there.
Nope.
Stick in the mud. Little loop around to right. Marte comes over toward the line and can't make the catch. Cooper digging for second. He's going to turn. He's going to try for 3. The relay by McNeil will not be in time. Well, Marte took a bad route to that ball, but it looked like he got there in time. It just ticked off his glove and wound up in the corner.
Well, I got to believe this is going to be an E9. It could be a home book here. But that's got to be an error, doesn't it, Gary?
It's giving him a triple, which is ridiculous. This should be.
He just missed it, that's all. Marte's very sure-handed out there.
That's one of those that I'm sure will be challenged either by Marte or by Peterson. In any event, here's Jazz Chisholm with a runner at third and 2 out. And he chases the curveball for strike 1. The curveball is a pitch that Peterson threw very little last year, only 5%. But Max Scherzer's been encouraging him to use it more, and he did this spring. Chisholm 0 for 4 yesterday.
Boy, this could be just a really tough inning for Peterson. It wasn't for the double play, that beautiful play by Pete.
I don't think we saw a single play last year by Starling Marte in right field that resembled that one. He got to everything and he caught everything. 2-1 to Chisholm. He had such a marvelous year last season, particularly when you consider that he had never played right field before at all. And he took to it like it was nothing. Chisholm hits it right back to Peterson. So a couple of hard hit balls in the inning, but Peterson escapes. No score after 1. For New York and hits it sharply, just foul.
I had a hunch he wasn't going to give Pete a first pitch fastball. He threw him a slider there, took a little off. After that first inning, he was just bringing it. And you're talking about Luzardo, of course.
Topped out at 99.3 miles per hour with his fastball in that first inning. And this one's hit out to right center field, hit well. Back in the gap goes Chisholm, back near the wall, and over comes Soler to make a terrific catch.
Wow.
Jorge Soler came out of nowhere to make a great play to rob Alonso of an extra base hit.
I tell you what, that's fearless. Not afraid of the wall.
Well, much like Hunter Renfroe, he wasn't exactly looking in the direction the ball was coming. I mean, Soler is not known as a great defensive player, but he made a great play.
You're right about that, Gary. He doesn't have usually a lot of range, but he showed a lot of range here. He's always had a great arm. But that leap, he looks like Vladimir Guerrero.
It's like
that
the Amazing
big body.
Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Pop up by Canha into foul territory, racing over Gurriel, and he gets there to make the catch. Gurriel, who won gold 2 years ago with the Astros, getting his first look as a Marlin, getting over in a hurry on that pop up that didn't have a whole lot of air under it. Starling Marte, after not catching that ball, talking about how it moved.
Yeah, it just straight bullet, and then all of a sudden it just died.
Still in the books as a triple, Keith.
It was an E9 to me, but that's
Yeah. I think at some point in our future, whether it's tonight or next week, it will be an E9.
Well,
Jeff McNeil had a great start to his season yesterday with a couple of hits and an RBI, despite a phantom strike being called against him, and he's down in the count here 0-2.
and they're playing him to pull. They got the short. They're giving him that third base line. Remember, you got to drag a bunt base hit down the third base line. Now it's 2 strikes right now.
And he goes down swinging, and that'll do it for the inning. McNeil had not struck out in his last 12 games dating back to last year, but he strikes out his first time up tonight. No score in the second. Well, Jorge Soler leading off in the bottom of the second inning. Hits the first pitch from David Peterson into the greenery above the right center field fence and gives the Marlins a 1-0 lead. And Soler, who made that great catch to Rob Alonso, putting his stamp on this game early. His first home run of the season after hitting just 13 last year, and the Marlins lead 1-0.
Well, 2 home runs this year from the Marlins, and they've both been to right center field. Garrett Cooper last night.
Alavasiel Garcia takes ball 1.
Well, Soler had a season in Kansas City where he hit 48. He's got tremendous power.
Ball's up in the strike zone. Oh, on the middle, it kind of ran right down the pipe.
And you know what, Ronnie? Yeah. You dropped a Vlad Guerrero on him before. He looked like Vlad swinging.
He did.
Didn't he?
He really did.
Alonso with the flip to Peterson, and they get Garcia for the first out.
His body's going one way, the ball's going another way, and it almost looked like he got jammed a little bit.
He didn't. You're right, though. So that's a pitch where you can pull or go the other way, and he went the other way. It's really the right approach off of a sinker ball left-hander. And you should see he had his body pushed backward to get that barrel through.
Now Yuli Gurriel. Gurriel spent 7 years with the Astros after coming from Cuba, and now at age 38 signed a minor league deal with the Marlins late in spring training. They signed both Gurriel and Jose Iglesias late in the spring. Iglesias is in the minor leagues, but Gurriel is here. It'll be interesting to see how much playing time he gets. Funny thing is, Garrett Cooper made 2 terrific defensive plays last night, but Gurriel is the far better defender of the 2, having won a Gold Glove in Houston a couple of years ago. Numbers fell off last year during the regular season, but Gurriel had a great postseason for the world champion Astros, and he starts his Marlins career with a base hit.
2 years ago, he won a batting title to go along with that Gold Glove. And last year, I was mentioning about hard to strike out in the postseason. You feel like you're facing the best pitching, right? 50 plate appearances, Keith. He struck out once.
I mean, he hit 242 in the regular season last year. His OPS dropped 200 points from the year before, but he had 347 in the postseason with a couple of home runs. So there may be plenty left in the tank for Yuli Gurriel. Here's Nick Fortes doing the catching tonight. And he bounces one toward the hole past Alonso and into right field. Gurriel will go first to third. Marte throwing across the diamond, and Gurriel is safe. So Fortes goes the other way, bounces it just past the reach of Alonso. Third hit of the inning for the Marlins. First and third and one out.
And you can see right now the Marlins approach as a team. The right-hand hitters are taking Peterson to the opposite field, going up the middle off of him. He may have to start pounding something inside. Nice throw by Marte.
Close play at third. Of course, the Mets no longer have a challenge.
And he just barely got in there. That throw is right on the money from Marte.
Now John Birdie. Watch out for the bunt. First and third and one out. And Birdie swings and misses. 0-1.
This is close play here.
Again, he got stuck in the dirt as well, but catches the back of the bag.
He just got in.
That's how the infield did double play depth against Birdie, who's hard to double up. Last year's National League base stealing champ.
You could I'm sorry, Ronnie. You can see Lindor and particularly McNeil playing a little bit in a little bit because they know that Birdie can run. That double play depth.
And that catches the inside corner, 1-2.
I think the third base coach thought he was out, Jody Reed. But watch, he gets down to get Gurriel down. But his face from another shot we had, he looked disappointed.
Peterson ahead on the count, 1-2. And Birdie goes down swinging on the back foot slider. That's a big strikeout for Peterson. Now 2 out, and Gurriel still pinned at third.
Well, they got him swinging at the bad slider here. The back foot slider, it's a good one for Peterson.
We mentioned last year 52% of his strikeouts came on sliders. Only one pitcher in baseball had a higher percentage. Edwin Diaz, 54%. 2 out, first and third. Here's Arias, who walked in the first inning. Takes that one a little bit low for ball one.
Where was that pitch? Now, Mito giving signs here in case they're going to try to steal a run.
And they do give time for the catcher to give signs, and they reset the pitch clock after that. It bends Arias back 2-0. Well, the numbers have been all over the charts for Peterson with runners in scoring position. Great his first year, terrible his second year, great again last year. Now behind Arias, a good hitter, 2-0 with Segura on deck. And it's a strike, 2-1.
Taken all the way.
You know, Gary, that's really been the problem for Peterson, is consistency. Last year in August, his ERA 1.5. September over 8.
Lindor way up the middle. They're giving him that left side of the infield.
And he misses away. 3-1 to Arias.
I'm with you, Keith. I don't like lefty-lefty matchup to play too much to the pull side on the infield, my opinion.
And particularly with 2 strikes, even shade more so. You can see it's a big avenue for him to hit the ball on the ground.
And he rips that one down to Pete. He handles it and makes the play to end the inning. And Peterson able to minimize the damage after Soler's leadoff home run. 1-0 Marlins. Third inning, 1-0 Miami. Eduardo Escobar leads off against Jesus Luzardo, who with some help from his defense has retired the first 6. And he misses with the slider up and away to Escobar for ball 1. Escobar 1 for 4 on opening day, 2 for 9 with a home run against Luzardo. And he pops this one up on the right side. Gurriel waiting for it to come down. And Escobar retired, 1 out. 7 up and 7 down for Jesus Luzardo. 1 down in the third.
But how nice is it to be in this ballpark with the roof open? It's a whole different.
I've never done a game with the roof open here.
It's fantastic.
It's a rare treat. It's a beautiful, beautiful ballpark. I feel as though it was a more beautiful ballpark before they repainted it and made it all blue. It was painted in that lime green, which was so evocative of Miami, and they had the home run sculpture out in left center field, and the feeling of this place with the roof open was so festive.
Yeah.
Now it's a really nice ballpark, but it doesn't feel as much like Miami as it did before.
Yeah, it had the colors and an Art Deco feel in here. That's evocative of Miami.
Tommy Pham check swings one, and Luzardo tags him out, 2 out. And while we're on the subject, you know, this ballpark was built during the tenure of Jeffrey Loria as owner, and Jeffrey just wrote a book. It's called From the Front Row. I just read it a couple of nights ago. It is fantastic. It's about baseball, but it's also about his career as an art dealer and all the artists that he knew, Henry Moore and Salvador Dali and Roy Lichtenstein, a lot of people I'd never heard of before. It is well written. It's fascinating and really, really worth a read.
Yeah, Jeffrey sent me the book too. I haven't got around to it yet. Jeffrey, if you're listening, it was so good under Gary's eyes. He read it in 48 hours. 2 days.
Here's Tomas Nido with 2 out, and he goes after a changeup and misses. 1-1. Well, the home run sculpture still exists, but it's outside the stadium where nobody can see the flamingos and the water and all the stuff that goes on when somebody hits a home run for the Marlins.
You and I are going to do the open from the sculpture tomorrow.
We are?
We are, you and I.
All right.
Keith has it. You have it off, he said. Great.
Oh, I didn't know. I didn't know anything about this, but I'm very happy with that.
I'm out.
You're out.
Well, he's still part of the team. Nido goes around for strike 3, and it's 3 perfect innings for Jesus Luzardo, who picks up his 3rd strikeout. 1-0 Miami. Gene Segura leads off the home third against David Peterson and takes fastball for a strike. Segura hit that bullet one hopper to Alonso, who turned it into a 3-3-6 double play in the first inning. Keith, have you got Segura's numbers against Peterson?
Well, it was 4 for 9. Now it's 4 for 10.
Thank you. It's good to be kept right up to date.
Okay. That's it.
And a pitch clock violation, or was it a timeout call?
Timeout by the hitter.
Timeout call.
You saw the hand signal of the umpire like he was holding the bat.
Remember Brian De La Cruz last night when he got called a timeout? The clock was winding down, and he was saying to the umpire, time, time, time on the clock. And he thought he was calling for time.
Right, because Scherzer, it went down to 0, and Scherzer had not thrown. It should have been a violation against Max.
Right.
And Segura chases one way out of the strike zone. And there's strikeout number 2 for Peterson, the first out of the third. Well, Garrett Cooper hit the first Marlins home run of the season off Scherzer yesterday.
And pretty much the same pitch, same spot as Soler's home run tonight. Ball down the middle, taking it to the right opposite gap.
First time up tonight. He got an official scorer's triple on a ball that Marte failed to catch in right field. It's the 6th triple of Garrett Cooper's career. He ought to enjoy it because it'll probably disappear. 2-0.
You know, Keith, you were talking a lot about how these Marlins hitters are trying to go to right field. Now, the new hitting coach this year, Brant Brown, who worked under Robert Van Scoyoc with the Los Angeles Dodgers.
Now, wait a second. Is that the same Brant Brown who dropped the fly ball for the Cubs in 1998?
I believe so. With Harry's call?
With Ron Santo crying in the background. Oh, my gosh. That's one of the great
Oh, what was he saying? Oh no!
Something very much along those lines. You know, Ronnie, who was just a marvelous human being, he wore his Cubs fandom on his sleeve as an announcer. 3-2 now to Cooper with Jazz Chisholm on deck. I remember the Mets were in that race too, coming down the stretch in '98, and that happened in the afternoon. That's lined the other way. Cooper's got his second hit of the day.
They are definitely, they had their meeting before the game, the Marlins, and it was go the opposite field on Peterson, go the other way. And this is just good hitting right here. That is just beautiful hitting, not trying to pull. It's so refreshing. We were used to so long seeing guys swinging out of their shoelaces for home runs. A lot of either home runs or strikeouts. Seeing a lot of good hitting tonight.
Here's Jazz Chisholm with 1 out and 1 on. And he takes a fastball strike. Chisholm into comebacker to Peterson his first time up. Chisholm limited to just 60 games last year because of a fracture in his back, and now trying to learn a whole new position. Guy who's been a shortstop and second baseman his entire life. Now
Nice.
the center fielder. Great pick by Nito, and the throw to first, and just back in time is Cooper. Alonso thought they had him, and again the Mets have already spent their challenge, so they cannot challenge the call.
Cooper might have hurt his finger going back into the bag.
That's a nice pick by Nito.
You know, there are new statistics out this year about catchers blocking balls in the dirt, and Nito rated very high on that list, 4th overall last year, and being able to stop potential wild pitches, and he was out.
If Pete keeps the glove on him, he's out.
Yeah, he
a second time.
took his hand off the base.
But he got the hand before it got back to the base, and that was what caused Cooper to recoil the way he did. But that's the way it goes.
I just find it very interesting that he was trying that dirt ball read. He's a big fella.
Oh, Pete's glove caught his the tips of his fingers.
Yep. 2-1 to Chisholm, and that jammed him badly.
That tied him. That's the old hard sinker. That is where they keep the pots and pans. You want to keep that pitcher out of there.
Last year, Peterson threw his sinker only 12% of the time. He is definitely using it more so far tonight. And he strikes out Chisholm. 2 strikeouts in the inning, 3 for the night for Peterson, 2 down.
This wasn't a particularly great slider, but after the two-seamer in on his hands, this must have looked a mile away.
It had the plate, but it was out of the strike zone down.
So 2 out, and now Soler, who took Peterson deep on the first pitch he saw, leading off in the bottom of the second. Cooper at first and 2 out. And Soler takes changeup for a strike. Soler last year limited to 72 games because of back problems. That's lined over short and caught! Oh, Lindor timing the leap perfectly on a seed hit by Soler. Beautiful play by Lindor to end the inning. Lindor had to time it just right to get that height. Syracuse playing their opener tonight. And I see Francisco Alvarez drove in their first run of the season.
Stole a base, I heard.
No.
Yes.
Everybody's stealing bases this year. And
Well, it was the guys who cleaned the grounds crew again.
We had the exact same thing after the 3rd inning last night, where they had to hold the clock because the grounds crew was not done with their work.
They're going to have to speed it up.
Nimmo fouls one away. As we start the 4th inning, that's looking for their first base runner against Jesus Luzardo. Nimmo looked like he might have himself an infield hit in the 1st inning. John Birdie went to his right. Close play at first base. Mets challenged, but did not get the call, even though it looked on the replay as though they might have had a case.
They're playing Nimmo on the infield defensively the same way they played McNeil. Similar hitters. Spray the ball, gap to gap hitters. There you see right there, third baseman and really the shortstop pole position. And the shortstop up the middle, probably as far as he can go up the middle.
Got maybe another step to his left if he wants. And slider misses 2-2. You have to stay to the side of the point of the bag that sticks out left to right.
Okay.
So you have about a 2-foot window that nobody can go into. The DMZ, I guess, for lack of a better expression.
Yeah, he's got him, so he can get up a little more if he wanted.
Marte and Lindor to follow in the fourth. Luzardo's 2-2. And Nimmo hits that sharply on the ground. Arrives with a nice backhand play and throws him out, one away. That's 10 up and 10 down for Jesus Luzardo.
Still a good at bat by Brandon right there. Good pitch by the pitcher. Came inside and got him. Still hit that ball hard.
Marte popped up to the second baseman his first time up. What a gorgeous night in Miami, and we get to experience it. That's lined the other way, and Marte has the Mets' first hit of the night. So after Luzardo had retired the first 10, Marte takes him the other way for a one-out single.
Goes right with this pitch. No overswing. Level. Remember, he stole a pillow last night, so we'll see if Marte is going to steal bases this year.
Marte looked unprepared to take his lead when Luzardo threw that pitch. Still adjusting the mitt on his hand. And that's another issue that players are going to have to deal with the pitch clock. It's hard to get that oven mitt on in time. Lindor struck out his first time up. Marte runs. The pitch is low. Fortes's throw into the runner, and the tag made beautifully by Arise, and they get Marte for the second out.
Strong throw from Fortes.
Yeah, Marte stumbled on his start. That's why Fortes had a chance.
I'll tell you what, good, what do you call it? Pop-up time right there, and a good tag.
Caught it and tagged him on the rump in the same motion. 2 out and nobody on. 2-1 to Lindor. And Francisco comes up empty on a 97-mile-an-hour fastball. 2-2. So the Mets get their first base runner promptly erased on a caught stealing. And that's just inside the Lindor. Luzardo thought he might have it. Full count. Three 2 to Lindor. He fouls back a fastball at 99 miles an hour.
Let's go.
Okay.
Let's go. Well, I won't repeat that one.
Cut.
It's ball 4. So the Mets have a 2-out base runner. Luzardo's first walk of the night. And that'll get Alonso up with a man on. The let's go thing has always puzzled me because guy does something great, he's already gone.
Yes. Yeah. Well, you know, you're a stickler for tense.
Hey, let's keep going.
Yeah, that's right.
Here's Alonso. Looked like he had an extra base hit first time up, but Soler made a tremendous catch to rob him. And Luzardo pumps one inside for ball 1. And Luzardo, on the 2 pitches he threw to Alonso his first time up, was supposed to come inside with both of them. The second one was a little further out over the plate, and Pete drove it to right center. But that's clearly the game plan, and he rolls this one slowly. Luzardo comes off the mound and throws him out to end the inning. Let's get their first base runners, but can't convert. 1-0 Marlins in the fourth. Avisail Garcia goes after a first pitch changeup from David Peterson as we start the bottom of the fourth. Garcia grounded out his first time up. Gurriel and Fortes to follow, 6, 7, and 8 in the Miami batting order. And when it bounces in, it's a ball and a strike. Peterson has sidestepped some serious trouble in this game. He's given up 5 hits over the first 3 innings, but he's gotten a couple of tremendous defensive plays made on the infield by Alonso and Lindor, and that has helped him hold the Marlins to only 1 run. This is with a fastball, and it's 2-1 to Garcia. Avisail Garcia had a great year in Milwaukee 2 years ago, but like so many of the Marlins who came over last year, hurt a good portion of the season, hamstring injury, played just 98 games and really underperformed. At just .224 with 8 home runs.
When he had that good year in Milwaukee, he hit a lot of balls to right and right center. Become more of a pull hitter.
And he strikes out on the changeup from Peterson. That's 4 strikeouts for David, and that's the first out of the fourth. And we check in with Steve Gelb. Steve?
You know, guys, it's clear at this point that David Peterson is a major league pitcher, but as you mentioned earlier, for the second straight spring, his path to the rotation and to the major leagues was anything but clear. And you know, obviously that had to lead to some frustration, but what I talked to Peterson about was the fact that over the last couple of years, no matter what level he was pitching at, it never seemed to affect him on the actual mound. And he said, you know, out on the pitcher's mound, it's always been my sanctuary, my escape. And he pointed back to really the worst day of his life when he was 9 years old and he found out that his father had passed away suddenly, unexpectedly. And he remembers getting the news and taking it in and then going up to his room and getting into his baseball uniform. Came back downstairs and his mother and his grandparents said, hey David, what are you doing? He said, well, I've got a game today. And they said, oh, David, you know, you don't have to play, as Nimmo races in and makes the diving grab on Gurriel, 2 away. But so they said, David, you don't need to play in the game later today. And he said, no, I'm going to play. And a 9-year-old David Peterson, on the day his father died, went out and pitched a no-hitter. And so he doesn't remember pitching in that game, but he said he's always had this uncanny ability to put everything else aside when he's actually on the mound. And you talk about adversity, he's never going to face adversity like he did when he was 9 years old.
Well, that's an amazing story,
That
Steve.
is unbelievable. Made me emotional listening to it, right? Goodness.
Nick Fortes batting with 2 out.
Well, Keith will tell you that if you play long enough, you're going to face some adversity off the field, and sometimes being within the white lines gives you a little respite for a few hours.
Like Quasimodo, Sanctuary.
Yeah.
Well, Peterson and Tyler McGill have been on that same push-pull over the last couple of years. Not quite sure of their spot in the rotation, but they're both being counted on heavily now. Swinging 3-0, and Fortes bounces one to Escobar, and Peterson's got his first 1-2-3 inning of the night.
Very dramatic.
That's the best thing we'll do tonight, right there.
Makes me wistful.
It's not the same in black and white.
Arcana leading off in the 5th inning, takes a fastball strike from Jesus Luzardo. Canna fouled out his first time up. Canna had just 2 at-bats as a DH last year. 52 games in his career. He's hitting just .198 as a DH. But with Darren Ruff being let go, the Mets, at least early in the season, are going to spread the wealth as far as the right-handed DH spot is concerned.
Canna has to adjust with the time clock.
Did he go? He did not. 2-2. Starling Marte, Buck Showalter said we'll get a DH game somewhere along the line on this road trip. They can use Tommy Pham in that role. Of course, waiting in the wings, perhaps, are Francisco Alvarez and Mark Vientos to get a crack at some of those DH at bats from the right side. sometime later in the year.
So we got some nice young players to follow up in Syracuse this year.
Well, that quartet with those two and Beatty and Mauricio, I mean, they just look splendid in spring training.
I mean, that is a very impressive group.
What the Mets need more of right now are pitchers closer to the big leagues, but that will come. And Canna takes low ball 4, and the Mets have a leadoff man on for the first time tonight. Second walk given up by Luzardo. Well, the aforementioned Tyler Miguel gets the ball tomorrow. He was with Syracuse. He was supposed to start their opener tonight. Threw a bullpen session on Tuesday. When he found out he was going to be coming here, he threw another session yesterday, so he should be sharp and ready to go for his start tomorrow against Edwin Cabrera. Here's Jeff McNeil, and he jumps back. Ball 1.
Rare strikeout, Jeff's first at bat.
And there's lots to look forward to on Sunday when Kodai Senga makes his first big league start.
I'm looking forward to that.
The Ghost.
Well, he had a little trouble with the Ghost fork, with the different sized baseball. Had a little trouble with his finger, but after shelving it for a couple of starts, broke it back out in his last outing and threw a dozen of them and pronounced himself good to go. What was interesting when he wasn't throwing the Ghost fork is seeing how good his other stuff is.
Throws hard.
His slider's good.
That's right. For you folks at home, the Japanese baseball is smaller and tackier than the American baseball.
McNeil struck out his first time up, and he hits a comebacker, a chance for 2. The turn by Birdie for the 1-6-3 double play. 2 out and nobody on.
Pitch Jeff pretty tough, that at bat. You're ahead in the count. You see the setups inside. Didn't get the ball in enough.
Both of these southpaws are good athletes, good fielding pitchers.
Now Escobar takes a strike. Guardo popped up his first time up. That's been held to just 1 hit over the first 4 2/3 by Luzardo. Waves of that one. It's a 0-2.
Luzardo looks very impressive.
Just 25 years old. Originally a 3rd-round pick by the Nationals in 2016. Traded a couple of times before emerging with the Marlins. He fires a fastball high, and it's 1-2. Last year was the breakout season for Luzardo, who had difficult numbers his first couple of years of the big leagues, but despite the injury that kept him out for almost half the season last year, pitched to a 3.32 ERA over his 18 starts. Mets saw him twice, and they hit him pretty hard both times. But he is a pitcher who is starting to emerge as a star. 2-2 coming, and he strikes out Escobar with high heat. 4th strikeout for Luzardo halfway through. 1-0 Marlins. Home 5th inning. John Birdie leads off against David Peterson, who starts him with a curveball outside for ball 1. Birdie struck out his first time up. 4 strikeouts over the first 4 innings for Peterson, who's working quickly, and it's a broken bat liner into center field, and Birdie's got a leadoff hit. So John Birdie, last year's National League stolen base champ, is aboard to start the bottom of the 5th.
So Peterson was a little late getting out there. So usually in between innings, you throw about 8 warm-up pitches. He was only able to throw 4 because he had to stop throwing by the 32nd mark. That's highly unusual. So he got caught by the clock there.
So let's see what Birdie does here, and Peterson immediately throws over.
Got 2 left.
We have 1 left.
Well, right.
3rd one, you either have to get an out or it's a balk.
But technically, Gary has 2.
Technically, he's got 17, but the 3rd one's a balk. Drag bunt. Beautifully done. Alonso can't make a play. And Arise has himself a bunt single to put 2 men on. So Luis Arise, who has really, in these first couple of games, shown you why the Marlins got him and put him at the top of the batting order.
Look at how McNeil hustled over. McNeil just knows how to play this game. And now P had his back to him. He didn't know. But that is just really heads up by McNeil.
The only time that play is made is if the pitcher gets to it.
Yep. Yeah, once the first baseman has to field a play, unless it's right along the line, the play's over. So first and second and nobody out. Now Segura. Corners are in. Segura has grounded into a double play and struck out. And he takes the sinker low for ball 1.
Well, the double play he hit into was a bullet that Pete made a beautiful play on.
If you're Peterson, you got to be aware of the double steal.
Segura taking a long look down at Jody Reed, his third base coach. You know, that's another thing that changes with the pitch clock. Players getting signs from the third base coach, they've got to be really quick. And the manager's got to get it to the third base coach, and the third base coach got to flash it to the hitter, who has to be in the box and alert by 8 seconds.
Correct. Probably going to make the signs a little easier to read from the bench, the opposing bench.
Yeah, the steal.
Yeah, the steal.
I wonder how many teams will have the hitter get the signs directly from the manager to cut down on one of those steps.
Good point, Gary.
I mean, there's no real reason why there has to be one set sent from the manager to the third base coach and another set sent to the hitter.
This is the big pitch right here for Peterson. 2-0 count.
Tommy Hunter is up in the Mets bullpen. And that's a borderline strike, and it's 2-1.
Drop.
Skip Schumacher seeking his first win as a big league manager. Bench coach for the Cardinals, hired by the Marlins after they let Don Mattingly go. And there's a strike. 2-2. So Peterson coming back from 2-0 to get even on Segura with Garrett Cooper on deck. Birdie at second, Arise at first. And Segura just got a piece of that changeup to stay in the at-bat.
Out of the strike zone.
Remember, in his second at-bat, he swung at a changeup off the plate and struck out.
Again, the 2-2, and it's up and away. He missed badly with that fastball. 3-2.
I don't think they move the runners here. 3-2. You just can't have a strikeout, throw them out, even though you've got the National League stolen base champ at second base.
And now Segura uses his timeout. We saw this a lot yesterday on opening day. Hitters waiting till a 3-2 count to use their timeout. They only get one.
Buck changed his position in the dugout.
He sure did. He's on the third step.
Now the 3-2 to Segura, and he shoots one over the bag, just foul. And that's like the ball he hit in the first inning that Pete turned into a double play. That was inside the line. This one was outside. 77 pitches now for Peterson. Tommy Hunter on call in the bullpen. And a big out for Peterson to try to get. Marlins already have 7 hits over 4 innings plus against David. Again, the 3-2, and Segura taps one foul. He is a tough out.
Yes.
Always has been, especially against the Mets.
That swing right there was a protecting the plate. Classic when you got 2 strikes on you.
This will be the 9th pitch of the at-bat from Peterson to Segura. And he struck him out. He went out of the strike zone with a fastball and got Segura to chase for a big first out of the inning.
Second time in a row, he got Segura last at bat, saying about the same pitch. Got him fishing for the high one. Big strikeout.
Now Garrett Cooper, who twice has hit the ball the other way, won a fly ball to right that eluded Marte and was scored a triple, and then a single to right field in the third. This will keep McNeil shaded toward the bag at second, leaving that hole open for Cooper. All three hits in this series have been to right or right center. Goes
Good.
after the first pitch. Slider, 0-1.
And again in reverse now with the right-hand hitter up. McNeil up the middle and really giving that right side of the infield to Cooper. Not so sure I like that.
That was interesting. Right as that pitch was thrown, Alonso was moving toward the bag at first base, expecting a pickoff throw, leaving that hole even more wide open on the right side.
They're really just trying to stop Birdie and Arise from thinking about stealing, but they're not going to. This is their power hitter up.
1-1 to Cooper with one out. And he shoots one toward that hole. Alonso has it go off his glove and into right field, trying to score his Birdie. McNeil's throw to the plate, and Birdie is out! What a play by McNeil! After Alonso allowed it to trickle off his glove, Birdie never stopped coming around third, and McNeil knew who was running and was on it like a squirrel on an acorn.
Well, McNeil is just quite the player, quite the heady player. And they did get him.
They're going to score that a base hit for Cooper, and then McNeil throws Birdie out at the plate 4-2 for the second out. Wow. So now 2 away. Here's Chisholm. Boy, Peterson has really gotten the benefit of some great defense to sidestep trouble tonight.
It's not a good slide when if your foot stays down,
Yep.
he's safe. So it's not a good slide.
The foot bounced up in the air, and that enabled Nito to put on the tag. Chisholm's 0 for 2, and he bounces one down to Alonso, and Peterson gets through trouble again. Alonso and Lindor and now McNeil all with tremendous defensive plays to keep this a 1-0 game. Sixth inning, Tommy Pham leads off and flies one out to center field. Jazz Chisholm gives a couple of strides and puts it away to retire Pham, 1 out. Let's go back to that play by Jeff McNeil.
Well, Jeff is just heads up here. I mean, he just always alert. He always seems to be in the right spot. And you know what, too? The sense that he had a play at the plate. Birdie, let's see if he got waved home. We don't see the coach there, not sure. But boy, oh boy, that is just a fine play.
Nito takes a big rip and comes up empty, 0-1. I have a couple of questions about that play. If Alonso fields it cleanly, do they turn 2?
I didn't see if Peterson was covering.
If Peterson's got to get over there.
Because it's a short enough throw for Pete to second base that, you know, with Cooper running, you think they should be able to turn 2.
They certainly would have had a shot.
Nito pounds one into the ground, 1-2.
Well, a third base coach on the left side of your screen.
And Peterson was getting
He waved
over.
him. He waved him.
Yep.
Hey, it took a perfect throw to get him.
It was the right call by Jody Reed to send him.
Absolutely, and if he makes a good slide, he's safe.
Yeah, I mean, it took a perfect play by McNeil and a bad slide for him to not be safe.
There's so many layers to that play from McNeil. Not only does he have to play the carom from Pete, he has the urgency to dive for it and keep it in front of him. then he understands the intelligence of the play, that Birdie's the fastest runner on the Marlins, and that he's going to try to go from second to home on the play. It's so many beautiful layers to what McNeil seems to do each and every night.
And his back was to home plate, so it's not as though he could see the play developing. Yep. He had to know before the play that might happen.
Now, he may have had a verbal command from Pete
or Lindor.
Because I think more Pete was closer. Pete can look and help him out and yell home. But this is the difference in this team than the Mets we have seen in the past. This is just an outstanding defensive team and smart players out there that know how to play the game.
It's like you're not taking anything for granted, because what do you lose if you throw that ball home and Birdie stops at third? You don't lose anything, right? So, but he chose to do the right thing and didn't take it for granted.
2-2 to Nito, and he takes upstairs, full count.
I mean, this game could be like 5-0 right now.
Easily.
Yeah.
I mean, you have the Alonso play on the double play, you have the Lindor leap to catch the line drive at short. Now this play by McNeil. And a fastball gets Nito looking. And that's 5 strikeouts for Luzardo, who continues to hold the Mets at bay. Let's check in with Michelle Margot in the studio for a game break brought to you by your local Honda dealers. Michelle. Yeah, that's about the story. Wayne Randazzo's first game as Angels TV announcer.
Nice. Him and Gooby. Mark Gubiza.
Think he'll call any wins?
He will. He will.
When the Mets play they play everybody this year. They play at Citi Field, right?
Citi Field.
It'd be great if Ohtani got to pitch the Citi Field.
Oh, wouldn't that be wonderful?
Brandon Nimmo's 0 for 2, couple of groundouts. Jesus Luzardo has held the Mets to just 1 hit. He has been just dastardly. Fastballs and sliders and changeups.
Oh my.
Only hit a Starling Marte opposite field single in the 4th. And Nimmo lays off the slider, and it's 2-2. We'll see how far Skip Schumacher's willing to go with Luzardo. He's at 81 pitches now. I think David Peterson might be done. He's at 84, but we'll see when we go to the bottom of the inning. 2-2 coming, and that runs inside, and it's a full count to Nimmo. Yeah, he looks like he's done. And Tommy Hunter, who was up in the last inning, continues to paw at the mound in the Mets bullpen. And Nimmo shoots one foul.
Oh, he's still throwing 97 in the 6th inning. Luzardo.
He's topped out at 99 tonight. 25-year-old lefty has been uber impressive in this game. Got a couple of nice plays behind him as well, particularly Soler's catch on Alonso in the 2nd. And that's ball 4.
Oh.
And Nimmo's aboard with a 2-out walk. It was the 3rd walk given up by Luzardo.
He wanted that pitch.
And now it's Mel Stottlemyre Jr. on the phone down to the Marlins bullpen, and they'll get some stirring around as Marte steps in. Starling has the only Met hit, single to right in the 4th, then was caught stealing. He takes that pitch down out of the strike zone for ball 1.
All of a sudden, Chris Guccione is getting a little Archie Bell back there.
First one of the year.
That's stroked out to right. That's falling fast. It's going to be down for a base hit. Nimmo goes first to 3rd. Marte's got his 2nd hit of the night. And the Mets have runners at the corners with Lindor coming up.
Just going with the pitch. Just look at that level follow through. Not over swinging. Just moving the train.
You know, watching the body language as Mel Stottlemyre will come out and give a breather to his young left-hander. Body language of Luzardo, big, deep breaths, like he's running out of gas a little bit.
Well, you know, we heard this a lot in spring training, and we heard it from Max Scherzer after the game yesterday. The pitch clock forces pitchers to pitch faster than they're accustomed to, and stamina, leg stamina, body stamina, even more than arm stamina becomes an issue.
You know, Gary, you're so right. It's not only the physical stamina of pitching quicker than they used to, the ability to try to hold your velocity, but the mental anguish of always having to pitch with that pitch clock is another thing I think that wears on a pitcher.
Well, we'll see how that plays out over the course of the season, but I talked to Tyler McGill in spring training because, you know, he took off some weight, and the training methods of today are designed for the quick twitch because that's how the game is played. But the running that you guys used to do, maybe that's going to come back into vogue. Lindor pops one foul back and out of play because you need stamina. You need the physical stamina to pitch deep into the game when you're working that quickly.
Well, there's two veterans, two vets right there.
Lindor has struck out and walked 0 for 1. That's down 1-0 in the 6th. And that one stopped by Fortes before it could creep away. A ball and a strike.
Now Alonso, he's tried to get out with changeups, but Lindor, he's gone after with fastballs, especially inside. Let's see if Lindor can react to one.
There goes Marte, and no throw by Fortes. Marte pulls in at second base standing with his second stolen base of the year.
I think that we're going to see a lot of this from Marte this season.
Well, that was a perfect spot for it. Wasn't much chance Fortes was going to throw the ball. Now it's 2-1 to Lindor, and that's low and in with the slider, and it's 3-1. And Luzardo's body language is not good at all.
So, 2 batters ago, you could see it. Run out of gas.
Skip Schumacher might have stayed one batter too long with this young lefty. He's got to dig down deep now. It's behind on the count 3-1 with Alonso on deck. And Lindor takes inside ball 4, and that'll load him up. So after 2 out and nobody on, 2 base hits sandwiching a Marte hit. And let's see if they bring in the right-hander to face Alonso.
Yeah,
I gotta think you make the move here.
It's going to happen.
JT Chagua, who pitched last night, is up in the bullpen, and here comes Schumacher. And Luzardo, who was so good for the first 5 2/3, hit a wall here in the 6th. Call to the bullpen brought to you by Nissan. Shop NissanUSA.com. Pete Alonso batting with the bases loaded and 2 out, facing right-hander JT Chagua, who came in to get 2 outs last night. Pete's 0 for 2 in this game, and he takes a sinker at the knees for a strike. 0-1.
Chagua's got the heavy lifting in this series so far, back-to-back. Had to get Marte and Lindor last night, and Pete tonight.
Came in after Nimmo's 2-run double in the 7th to get those 2 outs. And Alonso shoots one foul, and it's 0-2.
That was one to hit right there. Good cut by Pete.
With the sinking fastball and slider, it should be a good matchup for Pete, who likes the ball down.
That's that speed on the bases. Nimmo, Marte, Lindor, but now Alonso down in the count 0-2. And Alonso gets a slider, hits it out to center. Back goes Chisholm, and he gets there in front of the warning track to reel it in and retire the side. He got a pitch to hit and hit it hard, but Chisholm was there, and the Mets strand 3. There's your 4th, 6th inning recap. Not pictured there all the great defense that's been played on both sides. David Peterson allowed just 1 run in 5 innings despite 8 hits because the Mets kept bailing him out with great defense. Now Tommy Hunter on to replace him, facing Jorge Soler, who's responsible for the only run in this game, an opposite field home run in the 2nd. Hunter re-signed with the Mets, a minor league deal, after pitching effectively for the Mets each of the last 2 years. And Soler hits it sharply through the hole, and he's got his second hit of the night. Well, Soler's hit 3 bullets in this game.
He looks sharp. He looks sharp tonight. Got to put that back pocket in. Look at that back pocket. Look at it, but look at the swing though. That fastball running in, and he turns on it.
Remember, he had a ringing double in last night's game as well.
The only time he's been retired tonight was on that rising liner to short that Lindor made a beautiful leaping grab on.
Only 18 games last year for Tommy, who had some injuries.
Here's Avisail Garcia. He swings and fouls off a first pitch fastball. Garcia's grounded out and struck out 0 for 2. Tommy Hunter, one of Buck Showalter's real personal favorites. He had him in Baltimore in what has been a well-traveled career now for Hunter, is 36. This one's flied out to center, and Nimmo has a beat on it, back on the warning track.
Wow.
And he puts it away, 1 out. Tagging at first is Soler, heading to second, and he'll make it safely. Good base running by Soler, who saw that Nimmo was going to have it all the way, and Nimmo doesn't have the greatest arm, and Soler takes advantage and moves into scoring position. Ian talks playoffs and the adjustments the Knicks should make on the latest putback with Ian Begley. Check it out now on SNY's YouTube page.
You know, Nimmo can't get under there, under that ball, and it was taking him towards right center field. It was good heads-up base running by Soler. I didn't think that ball was hit that good. That went back to the track.
It was Gurriel, on who Nimmo made a sliding catch in shallow center field in the 4th. And he chops one to short, trying to advance Soler. Lindor will let him go and make the throw, and a good stretch by Alonso, and they get Gurriel at first for the second out as Soler moves over to third.
And playing the long hop back to the outfield grass, and Lindor showing the strong arm.
He's really looked good.
Yes, he played
and the first couple of games.
I mean, his momentum's back. Just showing the strong arm there. He had a good glove. He played great in the field last night.
So now 2 out. Nick Fortes calls his timeout before a pitch is thrown.
No, 0-1.
Oh, they called him for a violation.
Yes, he wasn't ready in time.
There you go. So he wasn't set by 8. And so it's a strike on Fortes, who swung 3-0 his last time up and grounded out, and now he swings at a bad slider, and he's down to the count 0-2.
Well, it's your fault.
Hunter looking to put this inning to bed. Bouncing ball for Lindor. He grabs the hop and throws out Fortes, inning over. Leadoff single. Soler's left stranded at third after 6, 1-0. The road ahead is presented by your Tri-State Cadillac dealers. 2 day games here in Miami to follow, and then 2 day games and a night game in Milwaukee before the home opener Thursday at Citi Field. We beat the clock. Marcana fouls one off to start the 7th inning, facing JT Chagua, who got away with one when he came on in the 6th on an 0-2 slider to Alonso, who hit a bullet to center field with the bases loaded that Chisholm was able to catch, and thus keep the Marlins in front 1-0. Canna slices one foul, and it's 0-2. Marcus fouled out and walked. 0 for 1 in this game. Jesus Luzardo went 5 2/3, allowed no runs, 2 hits, 4 walks, 5 strikeouts, 91 pitches, and leaves it in the hands of the Marlins bullpen. Bullpen usage is the thing that a manager has to learn the most. And Skip Schumacher in his first year using Chagua first 2 games of the season. And there's call strike 3 as he gets him looking at a slider, and Canna's retired for the first out. 1 out, nobody on. Jeff McNeil coming up, and we check in with Steve.
So, Gary, Jeff McNeil, one of 2 batting champions from last year in this series. Luis Arraez winning the batting title for the Minnesota Twins in the AL last year. And, there are different ways to skin a cat, though. These guys go about things a little differently. Jeff McNeil, as we've seen over the years, very, very aggressive first pitch and a lot of success first pitch swinging. Last year hit over 400 on first pitches of at-bats. Meanwhile, Luis Arraez, only 222 first pitch at bat, and if you actually look at league average, that's well below league average. Hitters across Major League Baseball hitting well over 300 on first pitch swinging when they put the ball in play. So I talked to Arraez a little bit about it. He said, it's not that he's uncomfortable swinging first pitch, and sometimes he will be more aggressive, but there are definitely times where he'll take his pitch and he'll take his time in the at-bats in a way that Jeff McNeil doesn't like to do.
But what I've seen of Arraez so far, he's a much more patient hitter. I shouldn't say that Jeff's impatient, but Jeff likes to swing at that first pitch. They both have good eyes at the plate.
Jeff knows how to take his walk when he has to. Showed that in the World Baseball Classic. He walked in front of that big home run by Trey Turner. Rounds out here for the second out. Here's your Delta leaderboard. McNeil just edging Freddie Freeman on the final day of the season. To become only the second Met to win a batting championship, joining Jose Reyes, who after his batting championship in 2011 became a Marlin the next year. Here's Escobar with 2 out and nobody on. Eduardo has popped up and struck out 0 for 2.
Goldschmidt started September with a chance for a triple crown, but he had a 243 September, and that took him out of the batting race, and then McNeil just turned it on.
Oh, what a turnaround for Jeff after a very rough 2021. He was 251 that year, far below his norm. And that one catches the corner. A good sinker by Chagua, and it's 0-2. Marlins have certainly made moves to improve their bullpen this year, and Chagua part of that. And the slider hit on the ground down to first, handled by Gurriel. Chagua covers. It's a 1-2-3 inning, and the Mets have been stymied again. Tommy Hunter throws ball 1 to John Birdie as we start at the bottom of the 7th. 1-0 Miami. Birdie had a broken bat single, was thrown out at the plate on that terrific play by McNeil in the 5th. And he takes a cutter for a strike from Hunter, 1-1. Birdie, then Luis Arraez and Gene Segura for the Marlins in the 7th. So you know how we call the second day of the season Ron Darling Day?
Yeah.
Our buddy Doug Mittler did a little research for us. I mentioned earlier that you started 8 times the second day of the season. That is tied for a major league record.
What?
With Andy Pettitte and Tom Glavine.
Really?
Wow. Well,
fly ball out to right, and Marte moves over to get it. Now Glavine was pitching behind Maddox.
but I love the company. Thank you, Doug.
Who was Pettitte pitching behind?
Clemens?
Clemens, part of the time, maybe.
I don't know. Yeah.
In any event, the other piece of information about your second day exploits is that I always think of it as you following Doc Gooden.
Yes.
But in those 8 second day starts, you actually followed 6 different pitchers.
No.
Doc 3 times, and then 5 other guys. I wonder if you know who those 5 other guys are.
Bobby O's one.
Bobby O, 1987. That's right.
Coney.
No. The first one.
Torres.
Mike Torres.
Mike Torres.
Good call.
In Cincinnati.
And then 3 times with the A's, 3 different pitchers.
Okay. Bobby Welch.
Bobby Welsh, very good.
Dave Smoke Stewart.
That was the 3rd one.
Mike Moore.
No.
No.
1 and 2 to Arraez. Good friends got a Son in the big leagues.
Bobby Witt.
Bobby Witt.
Oh, the Witter. Fake cowboy.
So you had a diverse portfolio of following the ace.
Yeah.
It wasn't just Doc. It was all those guys.
I was always in second place. It didn't matter where I was. I'll take it, though.
Always a bridesmaid.
That's some good company.
And Arise taps one. Hunter off the mound, slaps the tag. You know, there was a day when guys would have run through the pitcher, but Tommy is so big, maybe nobody would have run through him.
I mean, there was a bit of an eclipse there when Tommy was close to Arise.
So Hunter looking to go 2 innings. Gave up a hit to Soler to start the 6th. Since then has retired 5 in a row. Now facing Segura, who's gone 0 for 3. Ground out double play and a couple of strikeouts. You know, yesterday the Mets got great bullpen work out of Drew Smith and Brooks Raley and David Robertson. And knowing Buck Showalter the way we do, there was every chance that none of those guys was going to pitch tonight. You know that last year Buck pitched relievers back-to-back days 49 times. That was the fewest of any manager in the major leagues. By contrast, you know who did it the most? That's a chopper to short for Lindor, and that'll retire the side. Gabe Kapler in San Francisco used pitchers back-to-back days 120 times.
Wow.
All right, Gary, changes for the Marlins as we go to the 8th inning. Joey Wendell replaces John Birdie at shortstop. And Dylan Floro, who had a really nice year for the Marlins last year, will pitch the 8th.
You know, it's his 3rd year after being acquired from the Dodgers. Floro has been one of the bright spots of that bullpen for the Marlins.
Luis Guillorme is the only left-handed bat on the bench for the Mets tonight. Will bat for Tommy Pham. Interesting. I guess they'll move McNeil out to left field, keep Guillorme in at second base. So Guillorme, then Nito due up next, and Daniel Vogelbach on deck to bat for him. So Buck Showalter going to his bench in the 8th. And Guillorme takes a fastball for a strike, 0-1. First at bat of the year for Guillorme, who had a really nice year with the bat last year. Everybody talks about his glove and his hands, but he has really become a good offensive player. And that fastball misses. Ball on a strike. There's Vogelbach on deck to bat for Nito. And then you got Nimmo due up 3rd in the inning. Mets have been held to just 2 hits, both by Starling Marte. 2 singles to right field, and that's been it. Guillorme rolls one out to second, and Arias scoops it. 1 out.
You know, Gary, Buck Showalter was telling us that you used to be able to maybe hide the pinch hitter we're going to use, but because of the pitch clock, you've got to have that guy on the on-deck circle ready to get up there and take his at-bat.
That, or if he's at the end of the dugout, he better sprint.
Right.
Only 30 seconds between batters, and you got to be in the box and alert at 8. Now, with a pinch hitter coming into the game, the umpire is holding the pitch clock so he can write the name down before he runs the pitch clock, so that gives you a little extra time.
Yeah.
So now Vogelbach, who went 0 for 1 with a walk, scored a run as the DH yesterday, pinch hitting for Nito, and he takes a strike. Well, there's no question that the Marlins bullpen is better this year, with Floro pitching the 8th, thinking maybe A.J. Puck gets the 9th.
It's either Puck or Barnes.
Well, Barnes has closed games in the past with Boston. Puck's probably got the bigger upside, and a lefty.
At 6'7", too, the big monster.
Tim LaCastro, helmet in hand, ready to run for Vogelbach if Daniel gets aboard. Flora had 1-2, and he misses with the changeup. 2-2.
I mean, you can see it all along the bench. You have LeCastro, he's ready to run. Vogelbach was in the box. Buck Showalter, you know, locked into the game. Everyone is just on point because you have to be.
Vogelbach 0 for 4 in his career against Floro. 2-2 coming. And he gets one in the air to shallow right center. Angling on the ball, Soler and Chisholm dives and can't make the catch. Vogelbach into second base with a double. Well, these first 2 games, the growing pains have been enormous for Jazz Chisholm learning how to play center field, and the Mets take advantage. A pop fly double for Vogelbach, and the Mets have the tying run at second, and LeCastro will come in to pinch run.
And he's not playing overly deep. He broke back 2 steps, and that's the difference.
You know, we all talked in the break, why didn't they not put John Birdie out in center field? He's got more time out there, but you wouldn't want to hurt.
Good hustle. Good hustle by Vogelbach. He went first to third yesterday. Now he's motoring for a double. Good hustle.
And now a pitch comm issue for the pitcher Floro, who's having trouble hearing, he says. And that buys him some time. Meanwhile, LeCastro running at second base. Tim making his Mets debut. Got himself a new number. We're 83 in spring training. He's got a much more legitimate number 26 now.
Well, the 2 steps he took back, there's your difference. And Vogelbach, remember, he's lost 20 pounds plus in the offseason.
Tying run at second with 1 out. Nimmo's 0 for 2 and a walk today. And Brandon hits one in the air to center field, but this one's playable for Chisholm. LeCastro tagging at second. Chisholm makes the catch, and LeCastro will stay put. 2 out. Brandon, as he often does late in games in RBI situations, first pitch swinging.
Yes, something he never did in the past.
A lot of room out there in center field in this ballpark. So now Marte, who has 2 of the 3 Met hits today, 2 singles to right, looking to get LeCastro home with 2 out. And Marte takes a sinker inside for ball 1. Marte 0 for 4 in his career against Floro. Castro, one of the fastest runners in the game, could score on any hit to the outfield. And Marte shoots one the other way, coming on Soler. He dives and he made the catch. Wow. Tremendous play by Jorge Soler, his second outstanding catch of the game. He robbed Alonso back in the second. He keeps the Mets off the board, robbing Marte here in the 8th. John Curtis in to make his Mets debut, pitching to Garrett Cooper in the bottom of the 8th inning. And his first slider off the plate for ball 1. Mets took a flyer on Curtis last year when he was recovering from Tommy John surgery, signed him to a 2-year deal. And he looked great in spring training and should be a big part of this bullpen. Omar Narvaez comes in to catch. Luis Guillorme, who pinch hit, stays in at second. Jeff McNeil moves to left field. So the Mets used their entire bench trying to rally in the 8th inning, only to be denied on another great play by Jorge Soler.
Curtis's numbers with the Marlins and Brewers, of course, missed last season.
Ooh, he sells that one up and in to Cooper. 3-1. Well, The defense in this game on both sides has been just tremendous. Alonso, McNeil, Lindor, Nimmo all making fine plays for the Mets. Soler with a pair for the Marlins. And it's a 1-0 game in the bottom of the 8th. Curtis behind 3-1 on Cooper. And the fastball hit out to right field, and Marte is right there waiting for it. 1 out. T-Mobile customers get free MLB.tv. Redeem now through April 3rd at T-Mobile.com/MLB. A.J. Puck is up in the bullpen for the Marlins. You know, last year Miami went 24-40 in one-run games. And that's one of the reasons why they wanted to improve their bullpen. And we'll get a look at Puck for the first time, trying to protect the lead in the 9th.
Those were the most one-run games in the major leagues last year, and the most losses last year were by the Marlins.
There is the rather angular A.J. Puck. They traded J.J. Bleday, a pretty good prospect outfielder, to the A's to get Puck. 1-1 to Chisholm, who's gone 0 for 3 today. That's allowed Lindor, Alonso, and Canha up against Puck in the top of the 9th. Curtis trying to keep it a 1-run game, and a back foot slider, and Chisholm held the swing. 2 balls and a strike. Two-one coming. And Chisholm turns it around and drills it into the seats in right field. Second deck shot by Chisholm to make it a 2-0 Marlins lead. First hit of the year for Chisholm, and it was a bolt into the second deck. And now the Marlins with a little bit of breathing room. It's 2-0 Miami.
Well, that's his first hit of the year, and it's a big one.
Chisholm had gone 0 for 7. He had struggled in center field. But that's why they made the move to put him in center field, because that bat is electric.
Down and in. That's where lefties like it, and he likes to pull.
Now Soler flies one out to left, chasing McNeil back in front of the warning track. 2 hands, 2 out. Marte didn't even give it a courtesy move.
Well, he'd have just dropped the barrel on it, didn't he? That was a bullet.
Now Avancio Garcia with 2 out. It's the slider in the air to right. This one's playable for Marte. And Starling drifts and grabs, and that retires the side, and we head to the 9th. Mets down 2-0.
Live odds now presented by PointsBet. Mets pregame, we're -115 to beat the Marlins right now, heading into the top of the 9th inning, down 2-0. That is plus 350. Just a quick reminder from Front Door that tomorrow's coverage of Mets Marlins begins at 3:30 right here on SNY. But before we get to tomorrow, Mets have some work to do. Heart of the order coming up, top of the 9th, guys.
And they'll be facing the 6'7" left-hander A.J. Puck. Brian De La Cruz comes in to play left field to tighten up the Marlins defense. Lindor, Alonso, and Canha up against the enormous Mr. Puck.
6'7" southpaw. Came over from the Oakland Athletics.
Lindor takes a slider for a strike, 0-1. Lindor has struck out and walked twice tonight. Avisaíl Garcia has moved over to right field, so they took Soler, who's made 2 great catches in this game, out for defense. Swing and a miss on the 96-mile-an-hour fastball, and it's 0-2. There's Garcia now playing right. Oh-2 from Puck, and he struck him out on 3 pitches. High heat from A.J. Puck to get Lindor for the first out. And that's a huge one because now Alonso cannot bat as the tying run.
He's got a lot of life upstairs with that fastball, and when it's a left-hander and he's 6'7", probably harder to pick up as well.
Well, now you've got a confrontation between 2 former college teammates. Puck and Alonso played together at the University of Florida, and Pete flies one deep to right field. Garcia back on the warning track, right at the wall. It's out of here. Pete Alonso goes the other way for his first home run of the season and cuts the Marlins lead in half. It's now 2-1. First pitch against his old Gator teammate, and Alonso loses one to the opposite field to break up the shutout.
The Puck was trying to come inside, didn't get it there.
No.
And Garcia with a good attempt.
40 home runs last year. Now Pete with his first and the Mets' first of this season. And Canada takes a slider for a strike, 0-1. And how huge does that Jazz Chisholm home run look now?
Pete came close to having him 2 himself tonight.
Canada's 0 for 2 and a walk, and he checks his swing on the slider and went around, and it's 0-2. Well, Pete's now hit 12 home runs in 30 games in this ballpark in his home state. And that time did it against a guy he used to play with. Deep breaths from Puck, the 0-2. And Canada goes down swinging. So a couple of 3-pitch strikeouts sandwiched around the Alonso home run, and with that the Mets are down to their final out.
Upstairs fastball. Just beat him.
Well, Canada had to know Puck. They were teammates in Oakland.
Now McNeil, lefty against lefty. Jeff's 0 for 3 tonight, and he drills one foul. Got around quick on the slider, 0-1.
Jeff doesn't waste any time up there. He's up there swinging.
And a check swing foul. That one goes into the Marlins dugout. And now the Mets are down to their final strike. McNeil calls his timeout with a 2-strike count. Trying to keep it going for Escobar, who would be next. Oh-2 coming from Puck. And McNeil rolls one on the right side. Arise gets to his left, throws on McNeil, and the ball game comes to an end. The Marlins get Skip Schumacher his first win as a big league manager. Jorge Soler with a home run and 2 great catches. Jazz Chisholm with a home run. Pete Alonso's home run not enough. And the Marlins even up the series, winning tonight 2-1.
Well, a well-pitched ball game from both sides. I mean, the Marlins had a lot of opportunities. Just a real good defensive game by the Mets. They just didn't get it done offensively. Tip your hat to Luzardo, who was sharp. And the bullpen for the Marlins comes up aces again.
Jorge Soler was the difference in this game with his defense and his early home run.
Jesus Luzardo, 5 2/3 scoreless innings for the win. Jorge Soler with his bat and his glove. That's great defense in this game, but not enough hitting. They had just 4 hits tonight. And Alonso's home run, their lone score.
Yes.
So the Marlins, who were 24 and 40 in 1-run games last year, win a one-run game in their second game of the season. It took just 2 hours and 9 minutes as the Marlins win this one 2-1. More coming up from Miami in just a moment.